part of the fascist handbook. We've seen this play out over and over again throughout history. The status quo targets individuals in an effort to discourage dissent and sow fear among protesters. We cannot let this happen. We must make it clear that when they target one of us, we will all defend each other.
Hello, my name is Stanley Heller. Welcome to the Struggle Video News. To show you how ultra-right politics are in Israel, I read a paragraph from an article by a Palestinian reporter in the Israeli newspaper Haaretz. Her name is Hanan Majadli. She writes, Israel recently committed the largest child massacre in its history. 200 children and 100 women were killed in one day. Altogether, about 400 civilians were killed, and the number of dead is not final. These numbers are not reported in the Israeli media, and if they are, it's always minimized in an outrageous manner. For example, Channel 12 News, Israel's mainstream television station, reported that the 400 dead were operatives. How can you claim that they were operatives when it's completely clear that the entire world is seeing the horrifying pictures of dozens of babies and children bombed to death? The headline of Majadli's article is, "Even anti-war Israelis are scared to say Gazans are human beings." We link to the article in the archive on thestruggle.org, the archive Palestine and Israel. There certainly are some Israelis honestly struggling against the war and genocide. Right on cue, Trump's ambassador to the UN said that Israel's attacks on Gaza were the fault of Hamas. The facts say the opposite. Despite Israel's constant attacks during the so-called ceasefire, there were no Hamas counterstrikes. As for the negotiations, this is what Tzvi Bar-El wrote in Haaretz. On February 3rd, negotiations were supposed to start on the second stage of that deal, which would include a full Israeli withdrawal from Gaza, aside from a perimeter along the border with Israel. A permanent ceasefire, that is, the end of the war, and the release of all the hostages. But Israel refused even to send negotiators to start discussing the second stage. Then it unilaterally halted the entry of humanitarian aid into Gaza and stopped supplying what little electricity it still provided to Gaza. That should clarify things. On March 21st, there was again a protest in Hartford.
Out of CT now.
Say it once, say it twice.
Say it once, say it twice.
We will not put up with ICE.
We will not put up with ICE.
Say it once, say it twice.
Say it once, say it twice.
We will not put up with ICE.
We put up with ICE.
1, 2, 3, 4.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Occupation no more.
Occupation no more.
5, 6, 7, 8.
5, 6, 7, 8.
Israel is a terrorist state.
Israel is a terrorist state.
1, 2. Connecticut stands with immigrants who are what make this country great.
Yes.
Connecticut stands for freedom of speech, which has been threatened over the last 1.5 years by the Zionist regime and only escalated by Donald Trump. Connecticut stands with Mahmoud Khalil, who has been abducted, disappeared, and had his rights stripped away in the name of fascism. Connecticut stands against ICE in our cities, our state, and our country. Connecticut stands against the fascist regime that threatens the daily lives of every single American that does not fit within the white supremacist upper class. It is time for our Connecticut elected officials to stand up and stand alongside us in this fight before it is too late. Senator Murphy's Twitter video condemning the abduction of Mahmoud Khalil is not enough. Holding signs and wearing pink in Congress is not enough. Introducing fascist bills in Connecticut like SB 980 and GB 6872 is not acceptable. Connecticut's elected officials claim they are fighting to uphold democratic values, but their actions show otherwise. Their actions show them holding the door open for fascism. We demand tangible pushback. We demand action, and we demand better for all of us.
This is a critical moment in our history. A moment when we are called to look in our hearts and ask ourselves, what are we willing to do to protect each other? How can we move in solidarity with the strategic purpose to dismantle these systems of violence? Because it can't be the same things we've already been doing. One answer is to strike at the center of the systems of militarism and imperialism themselves. The weapons manufacturing companies that profit from war, genocide, and fascism. 3 of the 5 largest weapons manufacturers have subsidiaries in Connecticut. Sikorsky is a part of Lockheed Martin. Boo. Pratt and Whitney and Collins Aerospace are a part of RTX/Raytheon. Electric Boat is a part of General Dynamics. All of these companies have contracts with Israel that are being fulfilled right now in Connecticut, right in our backyard. They are producing helicopters, fighter jet engines, aircraft manufacturing parts, display-mounted helmets, rifles, and more. Shame!
There were about 150 marchers. They attempted to go up Main Street to interfere with the normal shopping in downtown Hartford, but police forced them to move a different route, and then they assembled at the Capitol building. Before the march, several people stood in front of the building that houses the Connecticut Treasury to remind us that Connecticut has invested $110 million in Israel, and to attempt to shame Governor Ned Lamont and Treasurer Eric Russell. New Haven held a protest a few days earlier on March 16th, highlighting the abduction of Mahmoud Khalil.
I want to open with a quote from Lila Watson. If you have come to help me, you are wasting your time. But if you have come because my liberation is bound up with yours, then let us work together. Our struggles are interconnected, and in honor of St. Patrick's Day, I want to emphasize the interconnectedness of global struggles for liberation. While they're not identical struggles, Ireland is an ally in this struggle because they recognize what genocide looks like. They too have been starved, murdered, targeted with relentless state violence. They too have been jailed and oppressed for speaking out and defending themselves against imperialism. As I speak, Palestinians are still being murdered at the hands of Israeli soldiers. Humanitarian aid is still blockaded by imperial colonizers. Dozens of healthcare workers are still jailed for the crime of caring for their patients. Shame! A genocide is happening. Not only must we stand up for Palestine and for Mahmoud because it is a human rights issue, we must stand with them because our own liberation is bound up with theirs. What is happening to Mahmoud is part of the fascist handbook. We've seen this play out over and over again throughout history. The status quo targets individuals in an effort to discourage dissent and sow fear among protesters. We cannot let this happen. We must make it clear that when they target one of us, we will all defend each other. We will continue to fight for the liberation of ourselves and our siblings at home and abroad. Our struggles are interconnected. And we're going to ask you to use this script. Find the solidarity and the comfort. We want justice, you say how?
We want justice, you say how?
Free Mahmoud Khalil now!
Free Mahmoud Khalil now!
All right, my name is Abdul Osmanu. I serve on the Hamden Legislative Council. I'm also a member of DSA, the Muslim Justice Center, as well as Maruf, which is more or less a 501c4 that advocates for getting Muslims involved and empowered in politics. We stand here this afternoon as we state clear in dissent, and more importantly in defiance to recent attacks on the Palestinian Solidarity Movement. These attacks will continue but we will stand unafraid of this authoritarian fascist regime we find ourselves under. That is not only the crime to kidnap people in broad daylight, kidnap our comrades, but utilize the same terrorizing strategies used by immigration forces, used by the Israeli government, used by all the exact same things that we find ourselves standing here in unison fighting against today. And this all happens, this full-scale dictatorial assault on the few civil liberties that remain happens because they wish to leave us in a state of shock, in a state of despair, in a state of fear. But I have one question for y'all. Are you in fear?
No!
Are you scared?
No!
Are you scared of the fascist state?
No!
Damn right.
Yeah!
Because that's all they're about. This is an assault that is stated in trying to leave us in a state of shock. They don't want to see us moving. They don't want to see us shaking. They don't want to see us breaking the walls down that have held us from solidarity for so long, because that is what this system does. And that's what scares them so much about our movements. That's why they show no fear in snatching our freedom fighters in broad daylight. That's why they show no fear attacking our undocumented siblings. That's why they show no fear legislating against our queer siblings. That's why they show no fear legislating against our unhoused siblings. So that's why we scream, free Mahmoud, free Laqa, We shout in solidarity with the Columbia grads that are having their degrees revoked as we scream, free all political prisoners of the state. We scream, free all oppressed people of the world as we stare down our own authoritarian state. We say, down with the rogue authoritarian immigration authorities, and say to them in defiance and protection of our siblings and all the folks around us, we don't care. We are here to fight for our people. And I would be remiss to talk about how this oppression is supported by both authoritarian apologist wings of both major parties here in America. The oppression and repression is going on at the federal level. It's going on at the state level. And it's going on at the local level. The spineless liberal joke of an opposition that told you that they were going to stand in support of your rights has left you. But is anyone surprised here?
No!
Are y'all surprised?
No!
Are y'all surprised?
No!
And by the way, in terms of some of the state oppression that actually has been proposed, there was a bill that was proposed at the state level that would have sought to criminalize many of the same student encampment movements that we saw last year. Shame. But you know what we did as a group, as a coalition? We reached out to our student organizers, we reached out to our affected community members and our freedom fighters, and what did we do? We turned out and showed up in force, and what I can tell you right now and today is that bill is dead. We got on it, we fought, and we won, and that is exactly what we are going to continue to do. We're going to do that in the legislative halls, we're going to do that in the streets, we're going to do that in our workplaces, and every single place that there is to be, because liberation is to be won in every single corner. Because the struggle of the person next to you is your struggle, because if they are not coming for you right now, they will come for you later. So that is why we are here today, that is why we fight, that is why we are going to win, and that's why we are going to win the freedom of Mahmoud, Laqqa, Palestine, and all oppressed people of this world. Thank you.
They keep hitting us with thing after thing after thing after thing after thing, thinking we're going to get tired and thinking we're going to back down, right? Are we going to do that? My name is Khalil. I organize with Transhaven, Connecticut. And a lot of the time in the LGBTQ plus community, people with specific lived experiences, or lack thereof, will be like, why are you coming out for Gaza? Why are you coming out for Palestine? This doesn't affect you, right? You hear the divisive narratives from the liberals and from the conservatives. You hear the divisive narratives of those people don't want you to be alive. Those people would throw you off a building. But the truth is trans people, specifically trans people of color in this country, and Palestinian people in Palestine, have been at the forefronts of some of the most militant and principled struggles in the world. And now is the time when we are both being called fraudulent, when we are both being called deceptive, when we are both being called dangerous and terroristic. When I, as a trans Muslim immigrant, need to stand up and say, all communities need to rise up in solidarity. Because the system and the people that profit from our death, that profit from our suffering, that profit from our torture, that profit from our abduction, that profit from our dehumanization, thrive and survive only because we're divided. When we stand together and when we see the connections in our communities, that is when they begin to tremble in their boots, the way they want us to tremble. So eyes on the prize. Do not let them divide you. Do not let you believe for a minute that your eye needs to be turned towards your neighbor. Your eye always needs to be on your oppressor. And that is something we're going to be learning throughout this movement. So unabashedly.
Our last speaker for now, Esther from the New Haven chapter of Jewish Voice for Peace and Mending Minyan. Okay.
Good afternoon. My name is Esther, and I'm here representing Mending Minyan and Jewish Voice for Peace New Haven to join the call to free Mahmoud Khalil. Mending Minyan is a lay-led shul of Jews and Friends of Jews in New Haven. We practice a joy-based Jewish ritual decoupled from Zionism. We are building radical Jewish practices to support struggles against white supremacy, fascism, capitalism, and colonization. Our ritual fills us with strength and introspection to fight for freedom, ve'al kol yoshvei tevel, for all who dwell on earth. Likewise, at Jewish Voice for Peace, we envision a world where all people, from the U.S. to Palestine, live in freedom, justice, equality, and dignity. We organize with accountability to our Palestinian partners and commitment to racial justice and collective liberation. As a New Havener, it has been an honor and an inspiration to organize with students from universities across the state, and I have been horrified by the repression, police violence, surveillance, harassment, and punishment of Palestinian student leaders and all students speaking out and organizing for free Palestine on campuses here in Connecticut. Just last week, organizers from around the state testified in overwhelming opposition to Bill SB 980, a bill that sought to expand repression and policing on campuses. Boo! The detention of Mahmoud Khalil by the Trump regime is further proof that we are on the brink of a full takeover by a repressive, authoritarian regime. This is what fascist dictators have done for centuries as they solidify control. We are gathering here today as people of conscience to take bold action to resist state violence and repression and hold fiercely to our commitment to Palestinian freedom. And we know this is just the beginning. Next, Trump will be targeting those who speak out to defend trans rights, environmental justice, racial justice, economic justice. The only way forward is to be united against the far right and understand that our liberation is bound up together. In the words of songwriter Karen Shevovich, taught to me by radical Rabbi Meir, listen, my people, our voices and our bodies are one. Lifting our voices together, we know that our work has just begun. Free Mahmoud! Free Mahmoud! Free Palestine! Free Palestine! Thank you. Get up! Get down! We're anti-war in this town! Get up! Get down! We're anti-war in this town!
You may have noticed one protester wearing a Rachel Corrie sign. American Rachel Corrie was run over by an Israeli military bulldozer on March 16th of 2003. Believe it or not, Netanyahu is sponsoring an anti-Semitism conference in Jerusalem next week featuring far-right European political parties whose roots are neo-Nazi. The list of speakers includes speakers from France's far-right National Rally, Spain's Vox, and Sweden's far-right party called Sweden's Democrats. The lineup is so bad that the German anti-Semitism commissioner pulled out, as did the right-wing chief rabbi of Britain. After the scandal grew, Netanyahu's lamb, Jonathan Greenblatt, the ADL head, withdrew, and so did the Israeli president. That and much more will be talked about Saturday, March 29th at 1 p.m. in the New Haven Library as I remark about my book, Zionist Betrayal of Jews. Free admission. As we close a march in New York City with the theme, We Stand with Ukraine.
Stand with Ukraine! 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 Stand with Ukraine!
I particularly liked this sign. Wish there had been Syrian and Palestinian flags in the march, too. That's our program for today. See you next time. I'm Stanley Heller for the Struggle Video News.